How do our earliest memories actually define who we become? Some experiences from when we're kids are just so powerful, they can end up setting the course for our entire lives. So today, we're going to dive into this really fascinating memoir that explores just that, how a child's imagination, a mysterious little cave, and one absolutely terrifying night in Brazil forged a moral compass that would last a lifetime.
So the author frames his entire life's journey with this one single idea. And this isn't just about feeling nostalgic, this is the core motivation behind his whole story, this deep-seated quest to get back to that feeling of security and wonder that he first knew as a little kid. Okay, so where does this all begin? We're in São José, Brazil, and the author paints this picture of his childhood as being, well, truly idyllic. It was simple, it was secure, filled with the love of his parents, and just the beauty of the world around him. And that feeling of security, that's the foundation that's about to get seriously shaken.
And this really gets to the heart of it. His childhood was all about solitude, being out in nature and just being alone with his own thoughts. Without the constant buzz of TVs and video games, his mind had to create its own entertainment. But that wasn't a bad thing. It was a space that made him incredibly tuned in to the world around him, and maybe even more importantly, the world inside him.
And that is the key right there. When your own imagination is your main source of fun, the ordinary stuff starts to feel, well, extraordinary. Every little rustle in the leaves, every shadow, it suddenly holds some deeper, secret meaning. His world was just brimming with mystery, and it was all coming from inside his own head.
So this imaginative world he's built, it's about to stumble upon its first great mystery. Something is about to happen that introduces a new feeling into his perfect little world, a sense of fascination, and maybe just a little bit of dread. And it all starts with the discovery of a cave.
It all starts so simply, right? Just a walk in the woods with his dad, something a lot of us can probably relate to. But when you're looking at the world through the eyes of this imaginative little boy, a small hole in a riverbank isn't just a hole. Oh no, it's a cave. It's a doorway to a whole other world. And here we get that classic clash between adult logic and a child's wonder. His dad, who's a no-nonsense airplane mechanic, gives him the totally rational explanation. It's just a hole for spiders. End of story, right? Well, not for a 4-year-old, it's not.
This is exactly how a kid's mind works, isn't it? His dad's logical answer doesn't kill the curiosity. It just pours gasoline on the fire. The word spiders, mixed with the mystery of that dark little hole, just completely ignites his imagination. What if his dad was wrong? So in his mind, it stops being just a hole. It becomes the spider cave. It becomes the symbol for everything he can't see, for everything mysterious and unknown. It's dark, it's hidden, and it becomes this focal point for all his daydreams and his anxieties. And this isn't just about being scared of spiders anymore. The cave awakens this really complex, deep emotion in him for the very first time. It's this weird, bittersweet mix of being fascinated by the mystery, but also a kind of sadness, a feeling of being all alone with a secret world that nobody else seems to understand. Okay, so this newfound fascination with the mysterious and the dark, it's about to be cranked up to 11 in the most intense way you can imagine. Let's set the scene for the climax of the story. He's 5 years old now, his parents are out at the movies, and he's home with his beloved, trusted caregiver, a woman named Zika. As he's sleeping, he gets pulled into this really powerful, recurring dream. It's incredibly vivid and pretty unsettling. He finds himself in the ruins of an old church where everything is just wrong. Statues of saints are hanging upside down, and a regal-looking statue of Satan is sitting on the altar. And the dream always ends the same way. He's on a beach, a massive wave is forming, and instead of running away, he swims out to meet it, and then wakes up right before it hits. He's yanked out of this intense dream, but not by waking up peacefully in his bed. No, he's pulled out by a sound from the real world that is somehow even stranger than the dream he just had. And for a second, that line between what's real and what's a dream, it just completely disappears. So he's awake now, but that surreal feeling is definitely not going away. He hears the unmistakable sound of drumming. It's low, it's rhythmic, it's hypnotic, and it's coming from his own backyard. This is not a normal sound to hear in the middle of the night. He creeps over to his window, and sees something that just completely shatters his world. It's a Macumba ritual, a kind of Afro-Brazilian folk religion. In the firelight, he can see a priestess with a cigar and a bottle of liquor. She's swinging the headless body of one of their own chickens, spraying blood on people who are chanting like crazy. But the most shocking part of all? His caregiver, his trusted Shika, is right there with them, totally lost in a trance. So, how does a 5-year-old's brain even begin to process something like that? You've got this bizarre dream colliding with a shocking, real-life ritual, and this one night becomes the defining moment of his young life. It forges a very clear, very simple understanding of the world. Back in his bed, just filled with this storm of new emotions, he doesn't hide under the covers. Instead, he kneels down and makes this solemn vow. This is his response to all the chaos and fear he just saw. A conscious decision, a promise to himself and to God that he was going to choose a different path. And you have to remember, he was only 5 years old. I mean, the self-awareness to respond to that kind of chaos with such a clear, determined promise about his own character, as he looks back on it, he realizes how truly extraordinary that was. For him, that one night basically crystallized the entire world into a simple, powerful battle. Faced with something that complex and frightening, his mind needed a way to make sense of it all. He instinctively labeled the ritual as an evil energy, and in that single moment, he came to understand life as a fight between good and evil. There was no gray area. His choice was crystal clear. And this powerful intuition, born from a childhood vision, becomes his guide for the rest of his life. Even as he grew up and the world got way more complicated and nuanced, he never lost that fundamental sense of right and wrong, that internal alarm bell that would warn him of a deeper kind of danger. And really, the story points to a universal truth, doesn't it? The spider caves and the strange nighttime rituals of our youth, whether they were real or just imagined, they often end up shaping the very foundation of who we become. They define our fears, our values, and the battles we choose to fight later on, which leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about in our own lives.